What's going on, guys? Sorry for the delay. This is my third time trying this tonight. Rookie moves, totally completed rookie moves. I hope you guys have audio now. I didn't realize that the audio wasn't recording before. But welcome to week 2 of the Underdog experiment and the recap. Third time doing this. So, completely rookie move. Nonetheless. Okay, so 10%. What are we doing for the Underdog experiments? We are essentially doing that 10% of our conscious side that we typically only have that 10% window every day that we use the conscious side of our brains, right? The other 90%, we are typically in autopilot. And so what we're trying to do in this Underdog experiment is take advantage of that 10% of your day and implement, one of these 4 pillars, these 4 themes over the 4 weeks, and improve your life in which way you see fit, right? So that's ultimately what we're trying to do here, is improve your life, again, in these 4 pillars. So take advantage of that 10% during the day. So with that being said, Underdog experiment, we are on week 2. This is the recap Friday session, and we are going to get into it, right? A third time. With that being said, share this video, get it out to those people out there who may be interested in trying to improve their lives. Also, if you want to help support the channel, there's a link down in the description to help you do so. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get back into this video. Again, I do apologize for all the jazz. So with that being said, let me shrink myself down here and pop this guy up. I don't want to go through the whole pinned comment that I've had. If you guys actually want to look at the whole pinned comments, you can do so. You can do so if you go to the Monday live session. I have that updated, so it has essentially everything in there. All the things from week 1 I carried over into week 2, and essentially, right, everything that you learn, you shouldn't just drop it off and then after that week that'd be it, right? So that's what I'm trying to do, is essentially create this essential meat wall. For those people who don't know about the meat wall, just a big award wall, but it helps you essentially track the progress you're making, right? On Monday, I did talk about this. I talked about having that running tally, right? That's unseen progress that you have. And this is one of the best ways to capture that unseen progress, is by essentially logging all this stuff on there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm essentially carrying over what I did from the previous week and just keep a running log, right? So at the end of the 4 weeks, you can actually see all the progress you make. Maybe you don't actually visually see it in health or mentally, right? But ultimately, you have that running tally, so you can see the progress that you're making. So I know for me, this helps, right? Because you're kind of looking to create another bullet. So what you do is you keep this running log, and you're trying to create as many bullets as you can throughout the thing. So this helps you kind of keep you on track. It kind of, pushes you to do more, right, than you probably would typically do. So again, I'm not going to go through all these. These are just the theme. This week's theme is health. That's what we're aiming for. This is the recap. This is ultimately what we are focusing on this week. So I had 2 goals this week. One was the stillness for the 30 minutes daily. And the benefit to this, right, is I talked about this on Monday's live session. The reason why I wanted to bring this back in, I do 15 minutes like visualization every day to essentially kind of forecast my future and what I want to do with my life. So I think that's also extremely important, to kind of visualize that. What I'm trying to accomplish with the stillness is, I talked about this on Monday's session as well, is, you get to a point, you can go into a stillness with a question. Maybe you want a question specifically answered, and the stillness really helps. But one thing to understand with the stillness is, you're going into it, you're observing your thoughts, right? You sit in a completely quiet part of your house or wherever you're at, and you you want to be an observer of your thoughts, right? You don't, every thought that comes in your mind, you don't want to sit there and dissect it. You kind of just want to let it come and go, right? And so that's what I was trying to do with the stillness for 30 minutes. Now, 30 minutes myself, I know for a fact that myself, like I don't really start getting those creative thoughts and stuff till more like at the 40-minute mark. But this week, I do know it's still beneficial for the 30 minutes because you kind of get that peacefulness, right? I think you hit that point after like 15, 20 minutes where you have that like you're kind of like staring into the abyss, all right? And you're staring into the abyss, but it's very peaceful. To me, it's become very peaceful. Initially, it was not so much, right? It's kind of like just like, what am I doing kind of thing when you first initially do it. And that's one good thing to remember in doing the stillness, right? Like the first like 10, 15 minutes, you kind of go through a lot of the junk throughout the day, right? You start thinking of replaying your day in your head and what do I got going on tomorrow. So you kind of, initial 10 minutes, you got all these thoughts going through your head. It isn't until about that 10, 15-minute mark where these thoughts kind of leave and you're kind of just, again, you're in the abyss. You get to a point where you do enjoy the abyss. It's peaceful there, right? And so that's what I wanted to accomplish with the stillness for 30 minutes today, or over the past 5 days. I didn't miss any day. It was extremely beneficial. I did enjoy the peacefulness, the stillness, and it's extremely important because you're going to have stresses throughout your day, right? It's trying to callous your mind to be able to deal, right? You're essentially preparing your mind for any stresses or any life events that may come up that may be a curveball, right? So you're trying to have the preventative maintenance essentially is what it is. And this is for the mental side, right? This is why I think doing some kind of thing for essentially your mentals helps, right? If you can do some sort of stillness, some sort of mindfulness, it's extremely important because whenever that curveball comes, you're more prepared for that stuff, so it doesn't sting as bad when it does happen, right? You want to be prepared for these things. And so that's essentially what I did for my 30 minutes of stillness this week. Did hit everything on the stillness this week every day. As far as the running 3 miles a week, again, this is one of those things where I was kind of like ready, fire, aim kind of thing, and I just went with it. I essentially took the 3 mile 10 3-mile runs and was like, okay, we're going to do this week. We're going to beat my PR for miles ran in a week. And then I just kind of took this thing on and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get all these things done in 5 days. A week is those 7 days. So I haven't ran all 3 10-mile runs, but I do plan on running a 10-mile run tomorrow morning. So by Sunday, on Sunday's premiere, I can show you guys that I did run it. And also I do want to show proof of that. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here for you guys. As you can see, on Monday, I hit almost 6 miles there. Tuesday, 10, Wednesday, 5, Thursday, 10, and today I ran another 5.25 miles. So that way, completely transparent. I'm not just throwing this stuff up there and saying I did it. I did achieve those 2 10-mile runs so far this week. They're rough. I'm not going to lie. It was a rough week as far as running. The 5-mile runs were essentially a breather. I felt like it was extremely important not to cram another 10-mile run in, right? You got to have that breather or lighter exercise for those things. So ultimately, what I was trying to accomplish with these 10-mile runs is, I noticed when you do them, right, you can run, and your body, typically your body will get tired, and at that point most people stop, right? It's when you start going on longer duration runs that it becomes more of a mental thing. It's no longer a physical thing. Yeah, it sucks, and your body's beat up, and you have to mentally push yourself, right? You have to mentally callous your mind and push through it. And that's what doing these long runs do, right? These long runs force you to do that. These long runs force you to to push yourself out of your comfort zone and allow yourself to reach new levels, right? And that's ultimately what it was for me, is to push myself past my comfort zone. And as you can see, like on Tuesday, my first 10-mile run, I didn't want to go out there at all, right? I was dreading going out there for that first 10-mile run. I won't lie, the first 7 miles were actually pretty smooth. It was at that 7-mile mark that I was dreading that last 3 miles. It was rough, right? It was definitely a task to get through those last 3 miles. But I did make it. As you can see, I did make it on Tuesday, those last 10 miles. And stretching is important, right? It's always important. After 10 miles, right, you're completely exhausted. You just want to shut down. You got to do your stretching and all the fun jazz that comes along with. And then on Tuesday, right, I took the break in between. I took the 5-mile run, and it was definitely a breather, right? Thursday, I was not looking forward to anything. As you can see, nothing was easy about that day. The first mile wasn't easy. The 3rd mile, 7th mile, the 8th mile, the 10th mile was not easy. None of it was easy. It was a complete push from the mental side of the house, right, to get myself to where I actually made it through, right? And I got to the point to where that 10-mile marker, it was actually the 7-mile marker on Thursday, where I started trying to like play out in my mind, okay, well, I know what the 10-mile mark is. I know my whole run is essentially like 10.25 miles. And so I was kind of like trying to figure out what that 10-mile mark was. I said, once I hit the 10-mile mark, run, right? Like I'm just going to stop and I'm going to walk the rest of the way. And so what I ended up doing was I pushed myself. All right, I hit that mentally where I thought would be that 10-mile mark, and then I realized, this is that I was waiting for that voice on my phone to click off that says, "Hey, you've reached this time. You're at this mile marker." And I was still at like 9.25 miles, and I was like, "Oh man, like I'm going to have to run this whole thing." So like I couldn't get myself out. It was like karma came back, right? So that's why it's extremely hard to push through those times. And I did obviously run that. I did like 10.25 mile on Thursday. But ultimately, to try to wrap a summary of this week, I talked about body and mind and being one. I can actually expand this here now. The body and mind being one, like a 1-to-1 ratio, right? And why it's important is because you need both, right? You need good input from your mind to essentially feed your body, and good input for your body to essentially feed your mind, right? They feed off of each other. And you notice this when you go on those long durations of your run, right? Like the long durations of your run, you get to that point to where, your body hurts. And so the easiest way to escape any like physical pain is to get in your head and find essentially your happy place, right? In your mind. Maybe it's a thought, maybe it's an idea, something you want to pursue, right? So you start thinking about that thing, it takes you out of your body. The same thing with your mind, right? You feel like you're stressed, you got anxiety. It's a big reason why Navy SEALs, they focus on the breath, is because it takes you out of your mind so that you can think clearly and that you're not overreacting. And it puts you into concentrating on your breath, right? And to ultimately understand that you can control your stress levels and all your mentals essentially through your breathing techniques, right? And then again, flip side. So that's what's extremely important. One of the biggest takeaways from this week is to realize that how intertwined your body and mind are, and why I felt like this week to focus on that, right? In the summary, of that being, or the theme of that being, that you need to make sure that you are doing both, that both inputs, again, for your mind is good, because your mind is feeding your body and your body is feeding your mind. And as long as those inputs are solid, and as long as those inputs are healthy inputs, right, you realize that you'll start to feel better, right? You won't have anxiety because you know how to combat that. You won't have you won't have that fog because you're feeding your body, right, the right nutrients and stuff like that. I talked about this a lot on Monday. I had some good points on there that essentially parlay into this, and that really helped out. But again, in retrospect for the week, health-wise, it was a challenge. It was definitely a challenge when it came to the 10-mile runs, right? Like it was all a mental thing. Again, I really did enjoy the stillness, right? Like I thought that was something that was big. It brings peace, right? And a lot of the chaos, especially stuff that's like going on now, sometimes you just need that peace of mind. And again, preventative maintenance, right? Like a lot of these health things are preventative maintenance, and it's a lifestyle change. And it helps you realize that you don't, that all of these crash diets and all these things, they, in the powders and all these supplements and all that stuff, like you don't need any of that stuff. It's finding that body and mind connection. And the more that you do both and you continue to go down that avenue, you start building that up, and you're realizing how important that is. And the biggest thing, I don't know if you know David Goggins. He's known as like the toughest man in the world, is essentially what he's labeled at, because he's pushed himself to do these ultra marathons. And I mean, he's an ex-Navy SEAL, right? So he does all these other different things, and a lot of people may wonder like why how can you get to that point, right? Like people want like, no, I want to buy the powder, or I want to, I want to know the secrets, and there are real no secrets. It's building that mind-body connection, and knowing when to push yourself, and getting out of your head and getting in your body, getting from your body to your mind, right? And doing that crossover, right? Switching gears and going off of how you feel, right? The diet, the mindset. We do eat specific foods because they make us feel better at the temporary moment, right? But in the overall scheme of things, the way I've always perceived like health and stuff is how I feel, right? It's never been about building big muscles or getting shredded or being 100% like super mindfulness, right? Like achieving those goals, right? I do want to achieve those goals, but it's more about how I feel. And I feel great, right? Like I always want to be in the best health I can be in the current state, right? And to be able to do that, you have to go off of feel, not about crash diet, not about, well, I got to lose weight for this, or I'm trying to fix essentially my mindset by meditating a little bit, and hopes that helps after only doing a week of it. It does help, but again, there's unseen progress there. But you have to realize that all these things are preventative, and they add up. Doing these things every single day will go leaps and bounds, right? Ultimately, in the end, you have to realize that it's going to take steps every day, and it's not just a quick fix. None of this is quick fix. All this is hard work. And what I'm trying to do here with the Underdog experiment is trying to help navigate that platform, right? Like a lot of people throw general information out there and not really getting in the weeds on how to do this stuff. I try to get more detailed and more granular about what I do and how I approach it, and what helps me be able to do that, right? And so again, in health-wise, I did talk about coming into things, and I think this is a good general concept, not just about health, just about everything. It's anything you're coming into stuff, right? Like you have your own experiences. When you come into anything, you need to come in with your glass empty, right? Never come in thinking you know it. And I talked about this on Monday, because on Monday I talked about the plant-based diet. Now a lot of people are thrown off when that word, when I say that, people are thrown off by that, and they completely close. I don't want to listen anymore. I'm done with this, right? And it's because I think society instills a lot of different thoughts and ideas, and this is why I tell a lot of people to have that critical thinking, right? To spend the time by yourself thinking about specific things and looking for new perspectives, not just going off of what people are telling you, but actually do your own research and do these things. And health is one of those things where, we aren't taught a lot about it, right? Again, we go off of old charts that are decades old, right? And they don't help us. You have to do your own due diligence when it comes to health. We all have a unique footprint, right? And yes, some things generally will help everybody, but again, it's experimenting on yourself to find out what works. And health is one of those things, right? Like you should find something to build that mind, body, and connection. And again, it's what works for me isn't going to always work for you. I try to provide as many options as I can, provide my experience, provide some essential navigation to help you hopefully achieve your potential, hopefully improve your life by doing that. By, again, providing you more granular details as opposed to just giving you a broad, just casting a net, right? And hopefully you get caught in that. Hopefully, you do your own due diligence, right? I can't even talk anymore. That's ultimately what it's about, right? Is trying to improve yourself by understanding yourself, right? And I do believe in our Monday session, I did talk about this. I don't recall what book it was in, but it essentially referenced the Matrix and talked about, how Neo was plugged in and learned Kung Fu, right? Just out of like nowhere, and how that was the brain book I had gone over, Livewired. That it can't happen, right? Like we all have our own experiences, and that's how you build, your brain is built off that way, right? Is to realize that you essentially correlate everything with your own experiences. That's how you build it. That's why everything is unique to yourself. And it's building that, experimenting on yourself, and to realize that. And in going into this week, building what will work for your health, right? We're not all built the same. We all have that, again, unique footprint. And so you have to do the same for your mind, right? And so with that being said, again, building that mind-body connection is extremely important, because the better you get there, the better you can handle stress, the better you can handle anxiety, the better you know your body, again, pushing limits, pushing boundaries when it comes to anything, not just health, not just mind. Again, why I decided I want to run 3 10-mile runs this week. Looking for a new PR. Hopefully on Sunday I'll share that with you guys. Hopefully trying to hit that 50 mile mark, which I don't think I've ever run 50 miles in a week. That's a lot, but sometimes you got to push yourself, right? It's not something I'm going to continue to do. I might just knock it down. I can't run every week. I run essentially every other week. But it will definitely be a new PR. I challenge myself. I think what I'll do is I'll relay it to maybe 1 or 2 10-mile runs on those weeks that I do run, because I do like that push, right? That's the mental side, that physical side, getting past the physical pain, where it becomes all purely mental, building those calluses on the mind, allowing yourself to essentially prepare for anything, again, the sideswipe that life has sometimes, right? You're prepared for all that stuff, physically and mentally. So that is essentially it. After doing this 3 times tonight, I do apologize. The first time I wasn't even streaming. The second time I didn't even have audio. This time I hope it's all together and nicely imprinted with a bow tonight. So with that being said, I don't believe I touched on it on this live. I think I went over the last 2 lives, but I did finish my book, Lives of the Stoics. I finished that on Tuesday, so I did pick up a new book. Again, this is all written in Monday's live stream. Everything is updated in there, everything I've been doing. So if you want to track what I've been doing, to track what your progress is doing, I put everything in that Monday live session. So everything is essentially logged there. I did finish that book. I did start a new book. The new book is The Inverse Edge to Networking, which is book I believe is going to crack my top 5. It is It is a business book, but it is also kind of one of those people skill books, which I may actually get into next week. Speaking of that, the Sunday premiere again will kick off, and next week we'll be going into people skills. So essentially, body language, doing lives like this, right? Keeping eye contact, smiling. We're going over all that kind of stuff and why it's extremely important to learn those skills and how it can actually benefit you in becoming successful in life, in relationships, essentially personal or professional, right? So I think people skills is again one of those pillars that will really help you out and really help you leverage life in general, right? We leverage relationships in life, and that's leveraging that stuff is what we're all about here, about learning about these tools and improving your life. So ultimately, Sunday premiere, I'm moving to people skills next week. Again, 50 miles. I'm hoping to hit by Sunday. Again, look for the premiere. I will actually probably set that up tomorrow or Sunday. We'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, Sunday, 9 p.m. Again, I think that's everything I essentially have. Again, this week was good. Pushed myself mentally, physically. To where I wanted to get. I felt that I made great progress. I hope you guys are making great progress. I hope you guys haven't seen any comments. So I hope you guys are still have a running log of what you guys are doing, improving your lives along with me. That's ultimately what it's about. It's about the community. It's not just me getting on here, jabbering away about my goals for the week. It's more about getting everybody involved. Again, for all, I have my top 5 books, which I believe are extremely important reads. For anybody out there trying to improve their lives. Again, those are down in the description. I also have theme books for this week that was on health. I have all those down in the description as well. So if you guys want to check those out, if you want to continue with health and want some good reads, I do have those in the description. Those are some of my favorite reads as far as like health-wise. There's a couple of books on mindset in there. There's books on plant-based stuff. There's also books, essentially stories about people transitioning to plant-based, which inspired me to go plant-based, right? So those books, again, are on the description. Again, if you do want to support the channel, I do have a link down in the description below as well. So you can go ahead and do that. If you feel that my content is valuable and you want to help support the channel, that, again, is down in the description. Again, Sunday premiere, we are looking for people skills next week, so I hope to see you guys on the Sunday premiere, and then Monday session we'll hit talking points, and then every Friday we do a recap on the theme and determine what we've learned throughout the week. So again, this is a good week. This week we've learned that, hey, mind and body are one and the same, 1-to-1 ratio. Check your inputs on both. Make sure they're both good, and that's pretty much it. So if there are no questions, I only have one viewer. So if you do have any questions, please drop those in the comments or in the chat. If not, I hope everybody had an awesome week. I hope everybody improved their life health-wise. I hope everybody has a good weekend. And until Sunday, I will see you guys then. So peace out, guys, and have a good one. Later.